work within me, consuming everything that is of death. Sickness, disease, poverty, all that. Everything that came as a result of sin is being consumed by the life of God that is within me. And not only do I have the life of God, I also have the health of God, because Christ became the great exchange. He took my place and gave me his place. He took my sin, my poverty, my sickness, my disease, and he gave me his life, his health, his wealth. And so now I stand in Christ Jesus, enjoying the benefits of what he did on the cross for me. I'm justified, he was condemned. You see what I mean? So I'm grateful to God for this morning, and I glorify him for everything. He's my God and he's my strength. Now we start off with Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya, who was freed on a bond of R1 million with an alternative bail of 500,000 following charges of corruption. However, anti-corruption principal magistrate Charles Ondieki barred the governor from accessing his office for a period of 60 days. The court also directed Natembeya not to travel out of the country unless permitted by the court. The governor was also ordered not to discuss the case in public. In total, the court set 15 conditions for Natembeya that he must abide by or risk being thrown into police custody.
The nature of the question commends itself for determination by the trial court. Question C, whether the constitutional rights of the first accused were violated. Concerning this question, this court too refrains from determining it now on account of the fact that it was raised informally from the bar in a manner stripping it of the manner of pleading such questions as enunciated in the locus classicus narratory says, a principle which has since received adoration and affirmation by the Supreme Court of Kenya in a litany of cases. Further, this is a question capable of determination in another.
You know, immediately after that, Natembeya went back for what you can call a homecoming rally. And he saw mammoth crowds coming to every place that he went. So in actual sense, the arrest just made him even more popular. Elsewhere, supporters of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua held demonstrations in Karatina and Kirinyaga, protesting claims of threats to his life. Demonstrators lit fires along the Mwea-Embu Highway in Kirinyaga County, while others took to the Nyeri-Karatina Highway following claims by the former Deputy President that the government was targeting him. The protest temporarily paralyzed transport and caused disruption of business in the counties. They were later on dispersed by the police. The protests come a day after Gachagua alleged that President William Ruto had ordered that he be dealt with once and for all, saying he would be the only one to blame if anything was to happen to him.
Tunasema ya kwamba zile semi za kujaribu kumkejeli na kujaribu kumlenga naibu wa rais His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua ni semi ambazo tunasema hatuziungi kabisa na tunazikemea, kwa sababu kila Mkenya katika hii nchi ako na haki ya kujieleza ya kikatiba.
So let the police use the procedure that is prescribed by the law. Don't chase someone. Go and chase criminals. For the DP, for His Excellency, just send him a message and he will present himself. So this is wastage of resources to keep on chasing.
And now they are running for our leaders who are supporting the young people agenda. The leaders who are supporting Kenya to be progressive. And going forward, We wouldn't want anybody to be abducted, anybody to be threatened.
And currently what is going on, the continued arrest and intimidation against our leaders, it is a political action. It has no legal basis because persons who are instigating these steps or ordering the police to do this, take this action, especially politicians.
You know, that's kind of like one of the, I think it's a first after a very long time. I can't remember seeing demonstrations in central Kenya. Were they paid? I don't know. I don't know. But I can't remember the last time I saw demonstrations like that. Now, the president of Tanganyika Law Society, TLS, Boniface Mwabukusi, has confirmed that the Tanzanian government has released and deported activist Boniface Mwangi back to Kenya. In a statement, Mwabukusi claimed that Mwangi was deported alongside Agatha Atuhaire, a journalist and a lawyer from Uganda, under the supervision of officers from the Tanzania Immigration Services Department. Mwangi, who arrived in Tanzania on Sunday to attend the opposition leader Tundu Lissu's trial the following day, was arrested in his hotel after Tanzanian authorities claimed that he had obtained entry into the country irregularly.
As of yesterday, they were trying to bring charges forward against Boniface Mwangi for within their Immigration Act, saying that by not opening the door to police officers, armed police officers, banging on his hotel room door at 2 in the morning, that he's violated the Immigration Act. And so they were threatening a 3-year sentence and charges. So considering that's all, you know, wrongful allegations, we've been doing all that we can to push for his immediate return back to Kenya.
We are giving Suluhu Hassan 24 hours to release Boniface Mwangi and our comrade Agatha Atuhaire. Failure to which we will occupy the Tanzanian High Commission.
Mama Suluhu ajue kwamba wananchi wa Afrika hatumuogopi. Hatumuogopi na tutapigania haki zetu mchana.
As in this Kenyan activist, when we sneeze, the region basically catches cold. I mean, these activists crossed the border into TZ and immediately, they've caused a ruckus. Now the Tanzanian government and president can understand what our president William Ruto goes through. You can imagine all those people live in Kenya. And when they demand demonstrations, that's a kind of experience you have. And talking about our president, William Ruto, yesterday he handed over keys to over 1,000 new homeowners of the new Mukuru estate in Nairobi's industrial area, which were built under the affordable housing program, handing over the more than 1,080 lot phase 1 units. The president termed the event the most consequential day of his political career. They comprise 5,616 bed-sitters for low-income earners who pay $3,800 a monthly mortgage for 30 years under the tenant purchase agreement. It will also consist of 3,024 one-bedroom units and 4,608 two-bedroom units under the affordable housing category.
Kuhakikisha kwamba kuna connection ya maji na siwa. Hapa tuko na health center ambayo tutaleta madaktari, wauguzi, tulete dawa ili wakazi wa hapa New Mukuru muweze kupata matibabu hapa. Pia maternity tutaweka hapa maternity. Tayari imetengenezwa ikiwa na theater. Your Excellency, here we will also have an ECD ambayo tutahakikisha walimu wamekuja. Tunakushukuru sana kwa sababu umesimama wima. Your Excellency, you have been forthright, you have been steadfast, you have had grit. Ungekuwa wale wa kuyumba kwa sababu ya kusikia kelele, hizi nyumba hazingekuwa.
And today we are opening homes, and it is my utmost pleasure, and as I've said, this is one of the most consequential days in my political career, that today I can hand over keys to citizens of our nation, people who would otherwise have never had a chance at life, that today they have keys not just to open doors, not just to open a house, but to open a home into dignity, into livelihoods that are different, and we are making a difference in the lives of the people of Kenya. Na mimi nataka niwaeleze ndugu zangu, hapa ni nyumba 1000 za kwanza. Mwezi wa 8, mwezi wa 9 tutakuja kupatiana nyumba zingine 5000. Mara 5 ya nyinyi mlio hapa leo. Tutarudi tena baadaye mwaka mpya tupatiane nyumba zingine 5000. Tuende hivyo mpaka tujaze watu hapa 13,000 manyumba ya wananchi tuwapatie.
You know, during the occasion, President William Ruto also confirmed that he will be seeking re-election in 2027 to serve the maximum as per the Constitution. The head of state recognized the opposition as that led by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, asking the people to decide based on work ethics.
Kuna watu vikundi viwili katika hii safari ya Kenya. Kuna watu vikundi viwili katika hii safari ya Kenya. Kuna wale wanasema wanataka kazi bila break, na kuna wale wanasema wanataka siasa mfululizo. Nyinyi mnaamini kazi bila break ama siasa mfululizo? Mnasema ni kazi bila break? Ni kazi bila break? Mnasema ni kazi bila break? Hebu nione wala wanasema kazi bila break. Nawauliza kwa unyenyekevu, kwa sababu nchi hii ni nchi yetu. Si ni kweli? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Na waulizeni ya kwamba saa hizi, wakati huu, majira haya ni ya kupanga kazi ya wananchi wa Kenya. Tufanye kazi ya kilimo, tuondoe njaa. Tusomeshe watoto wetu, tufukuze ujinga. Tuhakikisha kwamba vijana wetu wanapata ajira ili tuweze kuzalisha uchumi wetu. Kuna wakati utakuja wa siasa na majira ya siasa itakuja. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Mafundi wenye wanajua nani anajua kufanya kazi, nani hajui, nani wa mdomo, nani wa kazi, ni nyinyi wananchi. Na nyinyi ndio mtaamua vile mambo itakavyokwenda. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
Well, I must say that the 2027 general election is going to be a very interesting one. I mean, taking a look at the candidates, you have the president, you have now the Gachagua alliance. You know, if I would pray that they choose a guy like Matiang'i to go for it. Matiang'i would be an easy choose for many people. But, you know, the egos that go with these guys, they will probably fight up front as each of them tries to secure the top seat. We also have quite a number of new parties that are being formed by young people. As to whom they are going to put forth as their candidate, I ain't got no idea. Meanwhile, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has warned that the delay in the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is impacting negatively on the electoral cycle and activities in the country. Mudavadi said there is a section of politicians colluding with proxies through the courts to further delay the process. The High Court on Monday halted the planned vetting of the nominees by Parliament for the position of the chairperson and members of the electoral body, citing alleged legal missteps by the president and the selection panel. Mudavadi noted that slowing down the process will have a negative impact on the constitutional timelines, arguing that the steps taken so far had set an enabling ground for the finalization of the process.
The next step is that IEBC must be constituted. IEBC, the formalities have been processed, wamesukuma, watu walifanya interview, ikawa in public, ikawa hadharani. Some of you watched on TV. You watched the people being interviewed. You yourselves as Kenyans, you know out of those interviews who performed well and who did not perform well. There was a panel that went through the process. A decision has been made. The names are now before Parliament. Parliament has even issued a notice when they are receiving the names that if you have any material information that would make it impossible for any of these candidates whose names are here, please bring that evidence. It is there. It's a process, step by step. Lakini we are seeing people who are getting worried. They want to delay elections. They went to court when the first process started. They said they wanted conversation, a dialogue. Dialogue was held. The process has started again. Through proxy, the same fellows are going to court to delay. Surely, you cannot have an IBC of all tribes. You can only have an IBC of the nation. We are 42 communities. If we are all to pull in our individual corner, the Constitution does not allow for 42 or 43 commissioners.
Musalia Mudavadi, the Prime Cabinet Secretary. You know, I think Rigathi Gachagua has really rubbed the government the wrong way because during the function, Musalia Mudavadi did not hold back against him over the remarks of possible election violence in 2027, terming it a reckless and a threat to the nation's democracy. Former DP Rigathi Gachagua warned that there would be dire consequences if the 2027 general elections are rigged, including the possibility of violence worse than what was witnessed after the 2007 polls. Mudavadi has asked Gachagua to focus on his political party rather than causing instability in the country.
Nobody wants a repeat of 2007 and 2008 elections, post-election violence. It is not something that we should try and threaten people with. We should not even contemplate going there. I was at Serena with President Ruto and others. We negotiated the peace that came after the post-election violence for 42 days in Serena with Kofi Annan, Mkapa, and Gracia Machel, the wife of the late Mandela. Sisi ndio tulikuwa tunazungumza to bring peace, to restore peace in this country for 42 days. How somebody who has had the privilege of rising to the position of deputy president can want to take us back to that episode is completely out of line and out of order. Don't seek votes by threatening people. Seek votes by selling your policies. Uza sera zako, wacha kutisha watu.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at what is happening in the dailies. We start with the Star newspaper that reads IBC vetting order could trigger crisis. Further delay will plunge poll cycle into turmoil. Very true. And then we have the Ruto hands over 1,080 units to new homeowners in Nairobi. We have, pictures of President William Ruto in a house that's already furnished, and then him handing over some of the units. Then we go to page 3. Natembeya now blocked from accessing his office. IBC vetting order could trigger crisis. By the way, because there are timelines that we are supposed to have once the IBC is set in place, if we go without an IBC until June next year, then that simply means that we'll not have any of the by-elections, because we'll just be a year away from the election, and we won't have any of the by-elections taking place. So it's a very tricky situation, and we have quite a number of people who are not represented in a parliament because and their county assemblies because their members passed on. Then Patriotic Front, Wipers rebrand ahead of 2027. Former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka has adopted a new identity, the Wiper Patriotic Front, as it launches the ambitious rebranding and strategizing effort to position him for the 2027 presidential elections. Then Gachagua allies fight back, claim state persecuting him. This Gachagua script, it's exactly the same script that Ruto played during Uhuru's term. Being persecuted, and before long, he had won sympathy with the people. So it looks like he's playing the same script. Then race against time. Kipkeino Classic shifts to Lindsay Sports, with Nyayo Stadium still under renovations. Then we got the Nation Daily, nurses no one wants. Then it has pictures of these nurses who basically risked their lives during the COVID period, and now nobody wants to see them. I mean, they've not been paid for months. They put their lives on the line to help patients in isolation wards, likened to death chambers during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. 5 years later, the medics are enduring months without pay. Excuse me. The life of penury, plunging some into depression and suicide. Why have authorities been so mean to them? Then the page 2 and 3 still continue the works of the medics. Even page 4, and then page 5, public schools running on empty. School principals say learning and extracurricular activities have been affected by lack of funds. And then page 6, stalemate over 25,000 frozen tutors promotions. Then Ruto borrows 1.4 trillion, breaking campaign promise. Atandi attacks Uhuru, Nyoro over debt burden. Nyoro was, where does Nyoro come in into this? Mukuru residents, we now have houses with water and toilets. Did they say gas also? Yeah, they say in gas. Wow. The back page of the Nation, it is all system go for Kipkeino Classic meet. Mike Doughty, a record Safari Rally winner who returned to manage the iconic car race. He used to go with Shekameta. I was I was born then. Then Ruto's seal grab, a quietly passed law transferring the public seal, a symbol of government authority, from the Attorney General's office to the President's Chief of Staff, may have troubling implication. Legal experts now fear that giving the President unchecked control over such a powerful instrument could enable deals by passing the Attorney General and other key institutions, undermining national principle of power sharing among branches of government. Now, if you don't understand what this means, is that there's a seal. When the government enters into a deal, there's a seal that is put on any document, the government seal. Now, this seal was initially under the Attorney General's office, because the Attorney General is literally the lawyer to the government. He's supposed to go through all those contracts, and then when he's satisfied that this meets everything, the seal can be put. Now, that seal has moved from the Attorney General. It's now in the office of the President. Iko Seda iko. There's problem. I'm not saying that this president is corrupt, but I'm saying if we have a corrupt person at State House at any given time, whether now or in the future, then the Kenyan government will be forced, or the president will put seals or seals on contracts that have not gone through the AG. And that's a really difficult problem. And JB Muturi says, if documents can be signed and bear the public seal without the Attorney General's legal advice, that is a serious issue. I'm sure they're avoiding accountability by transferring matters to the head of Public Services Office, where they can use them however they want, since there are no checks. Then Natembea freed from cells, barred from office for 60 days. Freemasons seek compensation from City Hall in rates rao. Hata shetani ya kuangiani na do. Watu semanga ati shetani sijui nini. Shetani alifungiwa building. The Freemason Society has moved to court seeking compensation from Nairobi County following the clamping of their property over 19 million land rates row. The Masonic trustees in their case filed before High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye claimed City Hall was aware that they were exempt from paying taxes. They are exempt from paying rates. My friend, how are the Masonic lodges exempt from paying land rates? Bane, hapo iko sita. Lawyer wins sacking case over lollipop. See this, we did this case before. Mysteries around Catholic priest's death amid church silence. Now, hey, you remember that time I told you, I think it was it Monday or last week? I told you there's a Catholic priest who happens to be the brother to a friend of mine, was murdered in Nyahururu. Now, the thing that is disturbing is he had reported to the church's superior within that parish that his life was in danger, he was being trailed, and this is not long after the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua had visited his church. Now, we don't know whether it was the money that was probably given that somebody was after or what it was, but he was later discovered in a bush, in a thicket, by border riders before he died, that is, and he told them his experience that he had been abducted and then put in a vehicle and they had been force-fed poison. And after being force-fed the poison, he died before he got to the hospital. By the time they got to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. Now, the Catholic Church has been so mum about this particular issue. I'm told that the guy mentioned a couple of names or a name. So, I don't know, investigation still going on. He'll be buried tomorrow, so I'll wait to see what kind of statements that will be made. But there's been a lot of silence concerning the murder of this gentleman. His name was Father Maina, John Maina Ndegwa. Get the Standard and read that story. The intrigues are Ruto silent power grab public seal shifts fuel fears of legal chaos and abuse. Your ticket will give Ruto easy ride, Kioni tells Gachagua. True. Failure to create new boundaries will affect 2027 polls, says IEBC. IEBC Chief Executive Hussein Marjan, doing a function in Nairobi. By the way, he has a point. Kioni has a point. I think the last person who should vie is Gachagua. I'm a Kikuyu, so if I say this, it will not be tribal, because I'm a Kikuyu. So I really don't think the country is ready for another Kikuyu president. Let another person lead. Let Matiang'i lead. Let Matiang'i, he's fresh. Just you old guards support the young man. At least probably we'll see some good things coming. Probably. I'm not saying good things will come. I'm saying probably. Because it's the same thing we said during the current young man in the house. Sacked directors point finger at State House. Visit ICT Authority CEO Stanley Kamangoya. And then Kibra magistrate gave Mwangi and Kenyans the wrong advice. All right. The back page. 4 coaches later and Gor Mahia can't find its footing in title chase. Now, I don't know about you. What do you think about our civil society chiefs going to Tanzania, another sovereign state, to fight for the rights of the people there? The Boniface Mwangi, the Khalid, they've gone to a different country and they were basically kicked out of the country, deported. Mwangi had taken some time inside the TZian government quarters where you are confined and you don't pay rent. So he had taken some time there. But I think Kenya is a pot of change within this region. Some of the benefits, the fact that I can say that President William Ruto, yada, 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 I can talk about the opposition, yada, 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 say things. The fact that the newspapers can say some of the things they're saying is an indication that the democratic space in this country has really expanded from the times of Mwai Kibaki up to now. The democratic space has really, really expanded. That now we have a lot of freedoms we can celebrate. We can celebrate a lot of freedoms without having some DCI guy or, coming and sniffing around to find out what you said and stuff. We really have a lot of that. And maybe we assume that the rest, just because our house is like this, that the rest of the region is like that. You go to TZ and speak the things we speak. You'll be a matter of discussions as they look for you. Remember, the current opposition leader was shot. I think it was during either Jakaya Kikwete's term or during Magufuli's term. He was shot. They wanted to kill him. And he went into exile and came and put up a very spirited campaign against Magufuli. I think that was, he was shot during Kikwete's time. Yeah, he was shot during Kikwete's time and then came back to TZ during the election, put up a very, very spirited fight. They say probably was rigged out, you never know. And now he's the one who, he's actually been arrested, is in prison, and his political party barred from participating in the forthcoming election. So serikali ya mama haimaanishi kuna democracy. But that's the situation. If I was in TZ and I said that, you would see police officers coming into the studio and telling me, Frederick, tunaomba tukushike. So in Uganda, it's the same case. You've seen Bobi Wine. You've seen their main opposition leader abducted in Kenya, taken to Uganda, Kizza Besigye, taken to Uganda and actually tried under the martial law. Martha Karua went there and became the senior counsel there defending Besigye, but they could not even achieve his release. If you go to Ethiopia, it's a different thing altogether. It's a different animal. Somali, if you survive, well and good. If you go to Eritrea, it's a problem. You go to Rwanda, you can't say the things you're saying. You go to Burundi, there's a military government there that is worse than I don't know what. If you import anything from Burundi, if you import it through, obviously through road, because I guess the country is landlocked, the military will literally nick and steal and confiscate your products at the border. So it's a crazy situation. You go to DRC Congo, well, you know what's happening. M23, Museveni 23, and Rwanda 23. They've been fighting there and they've messed up the country. So we need to treasure what we have, count our blessings one by one, and you'll realize just how precious and how beautifully we are sitting. Obviously, let's seek for better situations. We're even better than some of the Western countries when it comes to this freedom. All right, we got to bring down the curtains on the show. Our mindset expert just told me he could not be able to make it, but I'm very sure that next week at the same time we'll have him so that we can discuss the kind of mindsets or the mindset or set minds that and what they finally get you into. All right? Do have yourself a lovely morning.